Hey y'all, I'm Brittany Sade, and you are now tuned into Gems and Tips, where I sit down with gems and we give tips and discuss all things lifestyle, beauty and fashion, business and finance, and wellness. And I am here today with Tawni, the writer. She is a creator, speaker, editor, and mentor. She's also the owner of Tawni Logues, a boutique communications firm who helps businesses and brands through sharp and strategic writing and editing services. She's also worked with big brands like the Falcons, WNBA players, and a lot of home brands that you may know of, writing their biographies and also some editing things. You tell me, what else have you done? You do their biographies, you do their media kits.
I handle a lot of different writing and editing services, such as press releases, website copy. I've done blogs for a builder in Atlanta, Brock Built. So it's a wide variety of services that I can offer for brands and for people.
I love it. And she's also award winning. Let's get that out there. All right, Tawni. So I want to start out with, we know that you're a writer. You're wonderful. I have recommended you, used you, y'all, all of my resumes and biographies. I have had Tawni look over them and redo them. And let's just say I have never not gotten the job. So that's one of the main things I want to talk about as far as resumes are concerned and even biographies. How important do you think it is to have a professional resume or biography regardless of the industry you're in? I know a lot of people feel like resumes are more important for those who are in the corporate world, but even for entrepreneurs, like, how do you feel the importance of it and having it professionally done and how it makes you more competitive in the industry?
For anyone, a business owner, a student, a professional, you need some type of document that really translates all of your work and all of your capabilities. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times in today's world, so we have Google, we have AI, we have a lot of things that will put something together, but a lot of times it's just not correct. And I tell people, even if you don't use my services, just make sure you are representing who you are the right way. So if you are, like I said, a business owner, if you're a student, you want to have a document that really shows your capabilities and leadership skills. And there are correct sections for a resume. Again, if you Google something, it may tell you need to have an objective that's outdated and that's totally wrong. Your resume needs to start with a professional summary.
Oh, okay.
Therefore, that's one reason why now, as a professional resume writer and a professional writer and editor, I also started a resume and networking workshop. It's for anyone, but I work or take it to schools and present it to high school students and college students because I want them, especially minorities, to really understand how to represent yourself correctly. So we go over all the parts of the resume, and I also teach them how to network, of course, and how to do an elevator pitch. The reason is, for me, these are things I learned that I really learned in my 20s that I want them to learn at 15, at 12, at 20, so that by the time they go into the professional world, they're more apt to be confident in who they are and to sell themselves. Because no matter what field you're in, you have to sell yourself. You may not be sitting in an interview with a full resume, but when you're networking, when you're connecting with people, when you're at school, you're always selling yourself in some capacity.
I love that. And I love that you mentioned networking. I feel like networking is very important. So as far as networking is concerned, how would somebody go about, or even if you can tell me, how do you go about finding the right networking events, or even any tips on like how to network? Like, how do you navigate? Because you have such a large community of people and supporters and people who know you, who use your services. So tell me a little bit about how you network.
Well, that's funny you said that because people always say, everyone knows you, but I am from here. Well, I'm not from Atlanta. I'm from Lithonia.
Okay.
So
you're not one of the people that be like, I'm from Atlanta.
I live in Atlanta now, but no, I'm from Lithonia. But networking is something that I realized you do all of your life. And now that I piece that together, I'm a little strategic in how I network, but I also like genuine connections. Like we made a genuine connection that has turned into, hey, do you know someone for this? Or, hey, I know someone that can help you with this. Also, I went to an HBCU. I am partial to HBCUs. And one reason is because I feel like it's a family and a network within itself, no matter what school you go to. By the time I graduated from Clark, Atlanta, I started working in the music industry. I got that job because of someone I knew from Clark. I worked there for 9 years. I was laid off. My boss got me my next job. And I was in between all of that. I started my writing company, my editing company, and it just continued to build. I had people that I knew from music that were like, hey, I still need you. I have people that still use my services. One part of networking is being a good person.
I know that's right.
Is your name holding weight? I know in Atlanta, a lot of people want their name to hold weight, but being a good person will take you further than someone just knowing you. Because if you have a good experience with somebody, or you just trust that person to do the job and to do and be who they say they are, that is literally a part of networking too. I always make sure I do good business. I'm very punctual. I'm very honest. And from that, I have literally just seen things grow and grow and grow. And I'm particular. Like if you say to me, I need someone to help me with an event, I'm going to get you someone that I know is going to do a good job. I don't want to put someone in place that I feel like may not represent me well and may not support you. So networking is definitely levels to it. When I teach young people how to network, I show them how to start with the classroom, keeping in touch with their teachers. Who do you know at your church that may be able to help you? Growing up in Lithonia, I realize now, like I literally grew up around doctors and lawyers and people who were doing very well in life. But I knew them. I could reach out and touch them, but I didn't necessarily feel like they were open, or they didn't say anything to where it felt like it was safe to just go up and have a conversation with them. So now that I'm like, wow, now my friends are the doctors and the lawyers and the business owners and the finance gurus. So now I know people that I can literally say to my niece, hey, call Brittany about that. Or, hey, I want to introduce you to Bink, or whoever it may be, because what didn't seem very touchable as a young person, we're now those people. So I feel like we have to reach back more than a career day or a social media post. We have to really say, who needs me right in my immediate circle, and be there for those people, because that is networking. That is what other people do, other groups and cultures do, that I don't think we do that well. I think we're like Black excellence and, start a business, have good credit. How? Who's really guiding people to do that? And that's one thing that I try to do, is position myself and make sure, which I do know, I have a network of people that if I ask you to talk to someone or help someone, you'll do it. But that's really key to me, is looking where you are, reaching back, and building good relationships with people, because you do good business and you are a good person.
I love that. And you know something? I really feel like you are who you say you are, because from you making the statement of just be a good person and do good work, you are very professional. I can't think of a time where you did not meet your deadlines, where you were not punctual, where you did not show up. And even beyond that, you're always supporting people. You're always shouting people out, myself included. And you just do good work, and you make connections from there, and you're always reaching back, like even with the students that you're helping. So I appreciate that, and I love the fact that every point that you have touched, you are that person. So I want to let you know that.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
So I do want to switch gears a little bit, right? Because a part of being a good businesswoman, whether you are a corporate Black girl or you're an entrepreneurial baddie, let's talk about being like a triple threat. I know that you manage your businesses, you work out, your fitness is important. You also have work to like pay down your debts and things of that nature. So let's talk about like kind of that being that triple threat and how you manage like being all of those things.
Well, thank you for the compliment.
Yes.
Honestly, I feel like it's about your foundation. Again, we live in a world where a lot of times things are like aesthetically pleasing, but they're not good after that. At the core of who I am, I want to be a good person to other people, but I also want to be a good person to myself. I want to take good care of myself. This year, yes, I have like revamped my fitness journey over the past couple of years, but before I turned 40, I wanted to get out of debt. I scaled back everything. I paid off all my debt. I reached the over 800 credit score club.
You know, I love to hear it.
I purchased a property in the Atlanta area in prime real estate. Everything worked out just how I wanted to. But one thing I also remember, one thing that I know is it's your journey. Yeah, it's things I would have wanted to do when I was in my 20s or even in my 30s. But I just decided in my 30s, let me scale back and make sure that everything I want to do, I am fully prepared for. I started therapy. I started going to therapy just really to work on being more self-aware. I started going to therapy for my future. The business woman I want to be, the wife I want to be, the friend I want to be. It's always room for improvement. And therapy was like a stepping stone for me to also say, okay, let's get all this debt gone so we can move forward in life and with our goals with literally a clean slate. Now, my family is still here. My parents were a big help. Everyone doesn't have that. But what I will say is whatever you do have, whatever you can do, if you can pay off your car, pay off your student loans. I know people absolutely hate student loans. But
they gotta have to get that back in blood.
Well, hey, or maybe not student loans. If you want to pay off a credit card, go ahead and get that paid off. Go ahead and take steps to better yourself, because the less things that are holding you back, the further you can go.
Absolutely.
So I'm very, very thankful to be able to be who I say I am and do what it is that I want to do. And another part about the credit thing, and I know you get this, I see a lot of times, like on Twitter, there was this whole big thread. Credit is such a scam. You pay off your debt and then they cut your score. Yeah, because you're not using it.
Right.
I'm like now, and my dad is like one of my biggest like credit or finance inspiration. My dad called me today. He was like, yeah, my dad is in his 70s, retired, of course. When my dad worked, he probably 20 years ago made around 50, 60,000. That was the most money he made. My dad was like, oh, yeah, I have this $15,000 I just put into a high-yield savings account. And I said, Dad, now you get on me when I call you rich. I said, but what person who's not working, who's in their 70s, typically just has $15,000 that they can just invest? Not $15,000 to where if they have something happen in life, they have to grab it. This is money you're moving because you don't need it.
Right.
I'm like, and this is why you're like my inspiration. He was like, yeah, I guess you're right. I'm like, you're always acting like, I'm like, you have money. He's like, I don't have money. I'm like, you have money. But I'm like, you have money, you have land, you've been wise with your money. So that's why you and my mom in your 70s are comfortable. Yes, they drive older cars, they have an older home, but it's theirs. And I'm like, most people, especially today, get so caught up in, I got to have everything, how everything looks. But what do you have? What can you grab if you need it? Yeah. And you, of course, are also inspiration. I actually tell my dad about you. I'm like, she's younger than me, and she's just so on it. But
I appreciate that.
Finances are a big part of everything that we want to do. And, of course, we can't always have everything perfect. But I tell people, I tell my niece, I tell young people, anyone that'll listen, really, just take care of your credit. And going back to what I was saying, I use my credit cards now to pay my monthly bills and pay them back off. I get the points. I get the benefit of having a car. I just had to get tires. I put it on my credit card, then I paid it back off. Yep. I'm like, it's about learning how to leverage everything that we have. And that goes back to networking. A good network will teach you how to be better with fitness, how to be better with your money, mental health. just everyday living to be better. And that's why I do know a lot of people, but at the core of who I'm around, I am a little bit more particular because, again, I want to make sure they're good people, and I want to make sure that we can always help each other. And it's not just oh, I need you, I need you, I need you type of thing. And in turn, I have had a lot of relationships that have been very fruitful and beneficial to me. So I try to just make sure I do the same thing.
I love that. And I love that you do have a good, someone you can look up to with your father, a good role model, because just quickly, we don't want to get down this rabbit hole because, I can talk finance all day, but knowing how to leverage credit, to your point, understanding credit, but also the concept of money management is actually more important than just making money. Mm-hmm. And so I like that. And thank you for, being a little nosy and you giving me that. I really like that. And I think that you are the type of person that reminds us how important it is. It's important to be a good person. It's important to do good work, but you also have to have a certain line of professionalism. Like, I know a lot of times it's like, well, I can show up and do my work and whatever. People like to pick on me about, you're the grammar police or things like that. But when you're presenting yourself in a professional setting, whether you're an entrepreneur or you're working in corporate, it's really important to make sure that you write well. You have things that are written well, because that is a separate world. And having that balance of having that level of professionalism, but also being personable is really important. And I feel like you are an example of that balance of just being a good person, showing up as yourself, but also making sure that there is a certain line of professionalism there. And that's what helps you become a little bit more competitive when it comes to really whatever industry that you're working in. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
So I do want to know, what is 1 to 2 things that you wish you had have known sooner?
Well, to go back to networking, the importance of networking. Mm-hmm. I grasped it while I was working in music, but not in the beginning. Okay. If I really would have really understood the importance of that, I would have focused on it more while I was in college. Mm-hmm. And 2, I knew it, but really applying it, just the importance of money management and not looking at, oh, I'm not making that much money. I can't save a lot. I can't do this. But not really understanding then how to leverage my credit, which is something I'm glad I get now. But it would have made me stronger in a lot of ways if I networked a little bit more and I really understood how to make even a small amount of money work for me.
I love that. So it's important to have good relationships. It's important to have someone professional to write your resumes or biographies, or just be able to really construct a well-written summary of who you are. And of course, having your finances on point, which that is my lane, so I appreciate that. Well, Tawni, tell the people how they can contact you if they would like to have your services or learn a little bit more about what you do.
The Tawni Logues on Facebook, so that's TheTawniLogues. The website is thetawnilogues.com. And on Instagram and Twitter, I am Tawni the Writer.
Thank you so much, Tawni, for your time. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to tune into the next episode of Gems and Tips, where we'll be talking all things lifestyle, fashion and beauty, finance and business, and wellness. Until next time.